Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit Season 1, Episode 1. So, you guys, I am feeling good about this show, okay? I feel like this is the same way that I felt at the beginning of DC. This is the same hopes that I had for DC. I think we might get it with Detroit. I'm not sure if it's just that the people are more likable or more relatable or what. Or is it maybe just the direction of the storylines, the way they look like they're going to go? But I think that we are going to get what we wanted out of DC with Detroit, okay? And I'm not going to give DC a hard time, because DC, they the middle child now. And, the middle childs always get the worst look. So we still going to ride with DC if they make it back, because I don't think they've said if they get in the the next season. Well, they still have to... What are they on hiatus, child? Yeah, they're on break. So they will definitely be back. But we ain't gonna besmirchify. Shout out to Don King. We ain't gonna besmirchify DC, but Detroit, I think, might give us what we need. Okay, so this is the first episode. Y'all, I can tell you when I was first watching it, I watched it last night, but I was kind of tipsy because me and Mr. had went out. And so I couldn't register all of the people. And honey, them ladies, everybody looked alike. I was just like, oh, it's just a whole bunch of caramel colored pretty girls and then they husbands. The only way I'm going to be really able to tell the wives right now, until I get to know everybody is through the husbands, because the husbands all very much look different. Okay. But we got 3 couples, sticking to the formula of love and marriage. I keep on hitting this thing. So let me tell you about the thing. Now Carlos King says Detroit is emerging as a new city, that we knew it back in the day as like the home to Motown, and it was the automobile industry place where all of the American factories, they had their businesses there, so it was a big thing. But I think back in the 80s, a lot of folks just left Detroit and like the bottom fell out, and it was a lot of abandoned homes, and the businesses was closing down, and people was in poverty because they worked in the factories for all of their lives, and now all of a sudden the factories is gone, so people didn't have the jobs that they had in the past. And also, anyway, Detroit, I can remember my Mr. going there for one of his motorcycle clubs meetings out there, and he was just like, Roxanne, it is just, you ought to see it. It's all these abandoned houses and all this. And I was like, oh, that's terrible, So, but now apparently they're trying to, get Detroit back to its previous heyday, okay, and trying to bring back, the people there, and trying to start families and businesses there so that it could be what it used to be. So now we got Detroit 2.0. This is also where Carlos King is from, so he's got a special love for the place, born and raised there. And he's got these 3 couples together. So we got Colby and Russell, and what Carlos says about them is that they look good on the surface. I didn't know what that meant. Okay. We'll have to see as time goes on. We had Christina and Brandon, and apparently Brandon is keeping a big secret from his wife Christina. All right, not sure if that's going to be the new girl that he's working with in the studio, or if there's a bigger secret. I have a feeling the secret is even bigger than that. And then we have Dr. Latoya and Anthony. Okay, they are the 3rd couple. So far, I feel like I like everybody. I already know that Brandon and Christina is going to be that couple, okay, that's going to give us a whole lot of drama this season. I can already tell. I'm sure you guys can as well, okay? But so far, I'm neutral on everybody. I'm going to get to know everybody and choose who I like and who I don't and all of that, but for now, yeah, everybody seems to be okay. All right, so let's get to know the couples. First, we have Brandon and Christina. They've been together 11 years, okay? She said that they had a whirlwind romance when they first met. They got married less than 6 months later, and they've been together ever since. It's been a roller coaster, up and downs. Like I said, you can look at that man bun and tell that Brandon is gonna be some trouble. Okay, he's a good-looking guy, and he works in the music industry. He says that he has this organization that he's trying to hone new artists. and, you know, he grooms them. You know, he's just trying to get them back to the ways that Berry Gordy used to do things. You know, he on his Berry Gordy, y'all. So that's what he does. But, you know, the way that they were talking, Brandon has dibble-dabbled with some of the artists that he has been grooming. You know, I'm trying to figure out what type of grooming is Brandon over there doing. All right. As a matter of fact, I'm assuming that he probably got involved with one of the people that his wife had styled, because she said that she used to style for his clients or his artist or whatever, but she stopped doing that. Okay. And she was kind of doing it sort of like, cut that out. So I was just like, oh, Brandon hadn't got himself in trouble, child. So like I said, Brandon and Christina, they gonna be that couple. Russell and Colby, is that her name? She says that Russell is her Superman. All right. They've been together 3 years. They have an 18-month-old child. Very much like Christina, Colby is also an influencer and a content creator. Russell has an organization called Soar Detroit, and it's basically like developing or creating literacy in sports for the regular person. Okay, so just getting them up to speed on what goes on, I guess, if families is, you know, if kids might be heading to further their sports career, like he's that person. And then we have Dr. Latoya and Anthony. So Dr. Latoya, she's a sports therapy physician, and her husband Anthony, he works in like the movie industry. So he works for Live Nation. And so he travels a lot and he does a lot with Live Nation. And apparently he was working here in Atlanta with Disney Marvel. And that had kind of caused some little friction in the family. But they have 3 kids, and they been together 14 years. So they've been together the longest. They seem maybe the most established of the 3 couples. And so then we start to see kind of what the friendships were. So I think that Anthony said that he was friends with Brandon. He said without saying that Brandon is one of those ones that's always looking for the hookup. He always trying to figure out who he can meet and who he can know and all of this. So I think that's how Brandon and Anthony's friendship is. And then Colby and Christina are close because they are both influencers, and so, you know, they kind of have a mentor-mentee situation going on there. And so, you know, so you kind of just see kind of the dynamics of the friendships that's there. They all get together for Father's Day, all right, just at an outdoor picnic, just so that we can kind of get to know everybody's personality. So they sit down and eat, and they are talking about Vegas. And I guess they're planning a trip for the fellas, or at least Anthony is planning this trip for the fellas. So now I'm looking again, and you can tell that Anthony's whole thing is, I'm a man, you know, I create strong men. That's what he does when he mentors men. It's all about being a man and being the man of the house and all of this, you know. So whenever you start hearing men say shit like this over and over and over, it starts to make you, you know, that little light be flickering, like, is this gonna be like our male chauvinist? He says that he gets the men together because he wants the men to have a voice. Okay, women go on you know, all girls trips, so the men can get together and they can all go on a man's trip. And Christina was just like, so are you asking or are you telling us? And Anthony was just like, oh, I'm not asking. Okay. And so they look over, and she looks over at her husband, Brandon, and she was just like, oh, okay, so he not asking, is you asking? And, you know, these are the kind of things that, so you got this one man who's like very obviously an alpha man, which is Anthony over here. And then you got Brandon, who's got to give the appearance of being the alpha man, but then you got your wife sitting across from you like, oh, okay, so now you just telling me, huh? He know he got to get permission from me to go and do what he want to do. And, you know, so we listen to this and it sounds silly because it's just sort of like, you guys are a married couple. I mean, we ain't got to be asking permission. Yes, we can have a conversation about it. You can tell me how you feel about it. Then I can decide whether or not I'm still going to do it based on your feelings. But I don't know about this whole thing about permission. But we also got to remember that they haven't said, but they've said without saying that Brandon has cheated in the past. We've caught him cheating in the past. And so it sounds unreasonable to us, but we not Christina and having to realize that, you know, my husband did mess around with some people in the past. Okay. So that's why she's putting more pressure on Brandon. The rest of them at the table, they don't really know all that. So, you know, they talking and, you know, of course, Russell was just like, you know, Colby don't talk to him that way. You know, he ain't got to get permission. Colby was just like, I mean, he grown and all of that. No, he don't have to get permission. But yeah, we still talk about these kind of decisions. Brandon asked Latoya, so are you going to allow Anthony to go? And Anthony was just like, I mean, she don't allow me to do anything. I'm grown and she grown and we all know, you know, like I said, it's a conversation, but it ain't no... We ain't got to be asking each other what we going to do. Latoya was just like, she don't even care if they go to Vegas. All right. So again, this is just sort of like a highlight. You can see where the different kinks in the armor are, and you can tell where, like Brandon, like I said, the past that Brandon has is the reason why Christina's acting the way that she's acting. Brandon is definitely the sneak of the group. But I guess the men is going to Vegas. Now, later on, we see the two influencers get together. They're going to have a kids' day, like a play date. And so, who is that? That's Christina and Colby. I got to keep these names and shit together. So, and you know, they both have little girls. So, you know, gonna let the girls play while the moms talk. Christina said that she mentors Colby. You know, she's 10 years older than Colby, and she's been in this, you know, she's been in this a little longer than Colby. So, you know, she mentors her and she likes to do that. So they sit down, they talk, and Christina's telling Colby how she about to turn 40. And Colby was like, girl, you look so good. Like, you still look 26. And she was like, oh, you know, thank you, whatever. She's excited. You know, her and Brandon's anniversary is coming up. And she says, but, you know, she must say that she don't feel all that way put together. She just kind of feels like sometimes she can do things better. And Colby was like, girl, I mean, I can tell you that you doing just fine. You still be getting everything done. And, you know, Christina was like, I appreciate that. I was like, Christina, I thought you was mentoring Colby. It sounds like it's the other way around. Okay, Colby is up there telling her, like, you know, you can do this, you got it. You know, Christina's like, I appreciate that, because she feels like she's kind of lost herself in being this wife, being this mother. You know, she feel like when she get back to her, but then she finally realized that maybe there's no such thing as getting back to that old Christina, because she's not that same person. She's married, she has kids, you know. So now maybe just she's getting to a different Christina, not the old Christina, because that one don't exist any longer. But she will admit that she feels quite overwhelmed at times. Okay, it's all the feelings that mommies do feel. Now, later on, we see Brandon. And this was the scene where I was just like, oh yeah, this is confirmation that Brandon is gonna be the mess. So Brandon is at his studio or whatever, and he's working with his new artist. He has a new artist by the name of Nyjah, I think is her name. And he's like, Nyjah is the truth, you know, she can sing, and he's, you know, trying to help her through what she's singing and all of that. And I guess he's in some sort of zone with Nyjah. Okay. While he's in this said zone, he gets a call from his wife. And his wife just simply wants to know when he's coming home. Why she calling, you know? I don't know why she did that, because, oh, she just completely knocked Brandon off his square, you know? So he answers the phone, and this is right here is gaslighting at its finest. You know how it is when somebody has done something wrong, but they gonna out-mad you, and they gonna turn it around and flip you. It's the old Jedi mind trip and make you Jedi mind trick. And this is to make you think that you did something when you ain't did nothing. I mean, why is this girl getting fussed at for calling to find out when her damn husband is leaving? Okay, so she calls and he's like, well, you know, what do you want? Like, I'm working. And she was just like, oh, I was just calling to see when you coming home. And he was just like, I mean, I'm working. I was in the zone, and you know, now you got the energy. You messing up the energy. Like, I might as well come home now, you know, because you calling. Like, what you calling for? And she was like, oh, excuse me, I didn't know I couldn't call my husband to ask him when he was coming home. I mean, you know, he basically was like, I'm gonna be where I'm at. Shit. And like, I'll come home when I fit. But it's just sort of like he was so hostile. And she just kept on being like, you know, she come telling us that she feel like he put the business before her, the marriage, and the kids. And I was just like, I mean, that's saying it lightly. He ain't even just putting it before you. Now he's making you feel like you did something. You ain't even did nothing. If I can't call my damn husband to find out when the fuck he coming home, then we got a real problem here. He's all, I was in the zone. She was like, well, let me not take up your zone no more. Okay, let me just go on and get out. I was just like, maybe she was just thrown off or taken aback, but that would have been an automatic argument. Like, who the fuck is there that you can't even talk to me for a few minutes? Especially considering what they've been through. I mean, you know, this is a TV show, so you can tell that they are, you know, they getting us, they not giving us a story like right there. You know, they got to build up the suspense to what exactly is going on. So, I mean, you definitely are leading us to the path of really not liking Brandon and, you know, all that. You can see it in action here. But, yeah, I was just like, yeah, he's definitely going to be that one that gets on our fucking nerves. He gonna sit up there and tell her that if he felt more appreciated at home, then maybe he would come home more. And she was just like, oh, that's not how it works. I'm sorry, y'all, my allergies. I'm gonna try not to scratch my throat on the camera again. But she was like, that's not true. That's not how it works, okay? You have to be home more for me to appreciate you more, okay? So bring your ass home and stop being up at the Star Factory all the damn time. Yeah, so he's definitely trying to flip it and put it on her. Classic Jedi mind trick, narcissist type moves. Like, you can tell that he kind of one of them people that don't think that he does anything wrong. Now, jumping over to Anthony and Latoya. So, Anthony is working with his son. His son is also Anthony, but they call him Trey. He says that his son is a good athlete, so he's trying to hone that, you know, and keep him on the right path so that, you know, he can further his career in that. And, you know, like I told you, everything about Anthony is man. You know, he got this man organization. He gonna push the man forward, you know, so, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, that's his thing. Latoya shows up there wherever they're practicing, and you know, she's just talking about the opulence wine. So they have a wine, and I guess the wine does quite well. And, you know, they just need to meet up and talk about, you know, the business. You know, he is her marketer. He is her assistant, you know, her partner. She helps him with everything, or he helps her with everything. He said that he was a yes man, you know, but anyway, they have this business. So they got to get out to Napa, and they got to do some more, you know, business shit when it comes to the wine. So they got to go to LA, or, you know, they got to go to California for that. He said he also got to come back here to Atlanta. And she was just like, I know. And he was like, see, every time I talk about Atlanta, you know, you kind of brush it off or you seem aggravated. And she was just like, yeah, because the last time that you went, we didn't even discuss it. You just kind of told me you was going, and then you was gone. And, you know, she's a doctor. So this happened right when the pandemic started. He was in Atlanta. They got kids together. What did I say? They had 3 kids together, I believe. And, you know, she's working as a doctor. I'm sure she was probably burning the candle on both ends there. And then he was gone. Yeah, it created some bad feelings, okay? Put some bad taste in the mouth. So she was just like, you know, the nigga just left. She felt like maybe he was having a midlife crisis. You know, she was just like, all of a sudden, he was just like, Atlanta. He going to Atlanta. So, you know, she was just like, she didn't really know what to make of all of that was going on. So that's why, you know, whenever he mentions Atlanta, it's still like a touchy subject. And so he was just like, you know, he needs to know that she gonna be supportive of him and the things that he doing. And she was just like, don't do that. You know, I've always been supportive. That's the reason why I'm here now. Like, if I wasn't gonna be supportive, I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking about it. You wouldn't be helping me with my wine. I wouldn't be here support. Like, I'm here. I do think that I'm going to like Latoya the best, but we'll see how that goes. Now, lastly, you guys, it is Brandon and Christina's 11th anniversary, and he says, Christina is a good girl. He's put her through a lot in the past. Whenever niggas say I put her through a lot, that means that they was cheating a whole bunch at the beginning of the relationship or throughout the relationship. Okay, so there's been some cheating somewhere in there. Okay, numerous times, because he said I put her through a lot. So he wants to give her this surprise. He done got all of the couples together. They gonna be in a lavender field, and then he gonna take her to the place. He got her blindfolded, and then he takes off the blindfold in the middle of this beautiful lavender field that she loves, and it's all a surprise. And she's, you remembered, I love lavender. Russell was just like, he don't see what the big deal is. He would have never done nothing like this for his wife. And the wife was like, yeah, because he's not really romantic. Something tells me that Russell is a bit of a Neanderthal. She was like, he don't really do nothing. He was like, I do stuff sometimes. Like, throw something on the grill. Oh, well, thank you. How often can you put shit on the grill in Detroit? When the weather is good, when the weather is bad, you can't, right? He put shit on the grill and they have sex. What else do you want? I say, yeah, he sounds quite, yeah, Neanderthalish. Again, Anthony starts up with the whole man thing, and they ask him if he's always been a male chauvinist, and he was like, I'm not a male chauvinist, I'm just pro-man. The man movement is building faith in men, having men think that they can do something, them having confidence in themselves, and how to lead their family, how to lead other men. He's grooming these men to be real men. All right. And Christina was like, well, honey, my man don't need to be groomed, so you ain't got to talk to my man. He said he supports Brandon, and she was just like, oh, don't make it seem like I don't support Brandon too. Brandon's whole thing is he just focused in the wrong places. Like, he always at the club, he go to the club, because Brandon's whole thing is he got to find the talent. So he got to be out. He got to be out at these clubs and everything, and he gonna try to make sure that wandering eye and wandering eye don't give him some problems. Russell was just like, yeah, well, I don't do the clubs. Russell say he do the grill and he have sex. Okay, now that's all he got for you. Christina was just like, Brandon is grown and Brandon gets to do whatever he wants to do, But you can tell that there's some tension there, and Anthony picks up on it, and he says, you sound like Latoya when it comes to Atlanta. He wants to go to Atlanta. Latoya wasn't really feeling it like that. Brandon, he said that he felt like Christina don't support him and what he wants to do. As a matter of fact, he says that he feel like Christina holds him back, and she was just like, I do not hold you back. She just don't think that he need to be in the club, and so Anthony was just like, so you holding your man back? You holding your man back if he need to be at the club to find this talent and all that. Like, yeah, you are holding him back. And she was just like, no, I'm not telling him he can't go to the club, but he knows his history, he knows what he's done in the past. Like, she keeps on saying stuff like that, never saying exactly what happened, but the fact that she keep on bringing it up, they finally, like, you keep on talking about history. Like, are we still talking about, like, what happened? What did Brandon do? Well, you know what? That's a story for another time and place, obviously. But Brandon know what the hell Christina talking about. Because Christina was like, honey, Brandon was at the club celebrating the artist. And look, I know my husband, okay? And she know what said celebrations entail. So let's just leave it at that. So the new artist that Brandon has comes up, Now, apparently Brandon had met with Russell, and Brandon told Russell that he's got a new artist, but he hasn't let his wife know, yet. He's still trying to figure out the best way to break it to him. So Russell rushed his ass home and told Colby, okay? And Colby, now, while we sitting here at this table, brings up the new artist. Brandon had told Russell that he hadn't let his wife know. So now here Colby is blasting Brandon at the table while Christina's there about this new artist. So, while Colby is talking, Colby's like, well, I didn't know that your wife didn't know. Russell is like, listen, girl, keep your toes over here in this relationship. Stop getting in they what, you could bring it on over here. Like, what done happened? So Russell left that one little detail out when he was telling Kobe. And sometimes if your spouse got a big ass mouth, sometimes there's some shit you just don't even need to tell them, okay? So now, you know, Christina feeling some kind of way. She feeling a little betrayed. Like, oh, so you got a new artist? Who is it? Oh, it's this girl, you know. Who's the girl? Like, he's beating around the bush. He never saying what it is. And, you know, of course, Christina's embarrassed. She's sitting there at the table with all these people, and she finding out that her man keeping secrets and got a new bitch that he working with, you know, our new artist. Somebody else that she, you know, and if it wasn't a big deal, if it wasn't nothing going on there, then it wouldn't be a secret. So obviously this Nyjah girl, I think, is probably Brandon's big secret. Not the fact that that's his new artist, but I think there's probably more with Nyjah that we gonna find out. So she was like, did you sign her? And he said yes. And she was just like, so you signing new artists to contracts and not telling me? He was like, why do I need to tell you? You know, I don't think it's anything that he needed to tell her, but I mean, you know, even in passing, oh yeah, I met this new girl, she's dope. Like, I think that she's gonna be good. I think I'm a signer. You know, it could have just been in passing. We not getting your approval. But considering what's happened in the past, I guess he could give his wife that, you know. So then she was just like, you signing contracts, not telling me. He was just like, you sign brand deals all the time. And she was like, yeah, I sign brand deals, but the history is not the same. Like, I'm not fucking the people that, you know, I'm signing contracts with. Even though so far they say that Brandon didn't have sex with this other woman in the past, that he was emotionally having an affair. But Brandon strikes me as the type to go from emotional to physical. Looking at him, I'm just like, Brandon. Okay, and that Nyjah girl was cute, and Brandon's a good looking guy, and Christina, and I'm just looking at this, and I'm just like, So like I said, Christina's, you know, hysterical. She starts crying about, you know, finding out this at the table, him not telling anything. He gets up and he walks away, and she's just sort of like, you know, like, this is exactly what she mean. You supposed to be taking more time for me and our family, but you signed a new artist and you ain't said nothing, and you think that shit is cool? Well, it is not cool. She don't appreciate it. Okay, so again, Brandon and Christina are our couple that's gonna wear us out this season. I already know, you guys, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. We gonna see how it all pans out. How y'all thinking about the show? What y'all think about this first episode? I thought it was quite entertaining. All right, you guys, that's it, y'all. It is so fucking hot. Like, I got the air on in Mr.'s car, but it's still hot even with this air on. So I mean, it's, you know, it's bearable, but you guys can hear the air and shit. So let me get on off of here and get this edited and up to you. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm itsrox. The channel is itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Until next time, rock stars. Goodbye.